Hey, happy day 888, infinity and beyond, celebrating today because 888 is a pretty auspicious number, and the 8 symbol looks like the infinity symbol, so I always get a kick out of that. I'm actually wanting to see, this is supposed to be a candle that plays music, like the happy birthday song. Today happens to be the 4th of July in the United States, and 2020 has been such a crazy year. I think there's going to be a lot of fun and celebration going on for the nation's birthday, for our United States birthday. It's been such a crazy year with COVID and with all of the unrest and the political BS that's been going on. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be an awesome day. Thus, my red, white, and blue attire for today. I just threw my robe on because I didn't have red on in my outfit, but I normally have all kinds of crazy red, white, and blue clothes. We sold fireworks for a lot of years in my family, and now one of the members of my family has taken that over, so the rest of us are out of it. And it's always been a really fun time, actually an exhausting time, which reminds me of the candle burning. Today's idiom for Supersize Your Business was burning the candle at both ends, and how often we do that. There's infinite possibilities on the things that we can do with our time. Guess what? Each and every one of us only get 24 hours in a day. Amazing, right? Time to me is the great equalizer. We all say, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have enough time. But the truth is, each and every one of us have 24 hours in a day. So do we have not got enough time, or do we have a priority setting problem? Do we have a challenge setting priorities based on what's really important to us? And so I try to find myself saying to people, when they ask me to do something and I don't want to do it, I don't want to say, hey, your interview isn't a priority for me, or this isn't a priority for me, or you are not a priority for me. I don't want to say that, because they are not, but that's not really true. But there's certain things that I've gotten better about saying no to because they don't match with my core values, the things that I've committed to doing in the direction I want to go and take my life. And each and every one of us have to begin to do that and continue to do that until we get really, really good at it. I was one of those people that always had a 4-item, I actually had an Excel spreadsheet. It always had at least 400 items on it. And I would knock a bunch of things off, and then all of a sudden more things would come into my life that I wanted to add to the list. And it was always around 400 things. Well, no wonder I was burnt out and exhausted. You know, if you have got in the back of your mind that you always have to do 400 items and 400 different things, and that no matter what you do, you're never going to get it all done, how's that for setting yourself up for failure? I can't remember what guru taught me to do that, or what coach told me, hey, get all this stuff out of your head and put it down on paper in an Excel spreadsheet. But it's probably one of the dumbest things I ever did. Yeah, I dumped it out of my head, but instead of letting it go and not having it take up mental space in my mind, it just made it be like a certain thing in the background that I was always worried about because I wasn't getting it done. It's like if you're working on your house and you do something in your house, or there's something in your house that breaks, or in your apartment or your life that needs to be repaired. Like if you have a little squeak in your car, a noise or something that drives you nuts, but you never get around to fixing it. I'll give you an example right now. The light is on to change the filter on the microwave. I have no idea how to change the filter on the microwave. I can't see very well, so I don't know how to do it. I don't even know where it is on the microwave. And that might sound silly, and I'm an engineer, so it's kind of embarrassing to say that I don't know where it is, but I need to get that changed. And it bugs me. Every time I heat up my cup of coffee, that red light's flashing, and even with my vision challenges, I can see the red light flashing, and it reminds me, stop, you need to do something about this. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I just don't want to spend the time and energy figuring out how to do it and what to do about it, change the filter. Yet, until that's changed and that light goes off, as much as I try to ignore it, it keeps playing in my mind. Same thing with the 400 item to-do list. I'm going to say, I never give people that advice anymore. When I first learned it, I thought it was a great idea, and then I realized over several years the negative impact that had on me. Maybe for some people that's a great strategy and it works, and I guarantee it is. For the person that taught me it, it was a great strategy. It was super powerful. But the lesson in that is that what works for one person may or may not work for you. You have to test it out on yourself and find out if it's really right for you. And you might not know right away. You might get some short-term results. I got some short-term hits by getting things knocked off that list right away, and I felt like, oh, I'm making progress. But then when I realized that every time I knocked 2 off, I was adding 3 or 4 on, or every time I knocked 10 or 20 things off, I was adding 50 things on, that wasn't necessarily the best strategy for me. What I really needed to do was have a better filter system on my thoughts and ideas and the things that I wanted to do, meaning what are my priorities, what am I going to commit to doing, and then it goes on the list. Otherwise, it doesn't go on the list. If it's just a pie in the sky, oh, I'd like to go to Nepal someday, that doesn't go on my to-do list. That might go on my bucket list. And I did start, and I started to separate that list. So now I have a list of, and I actually have a book. I keep books on everything. I have a little journal book of just things I would love to do someday, experiences I would like to have, but they don't go on my to-do list. So to me, since the movie The Bucket List came out, everybody calls it a bucket list. I used to call it my fantasy list or something. I don't even remember now since bucket list came out. Can't think of any other term for it. But this is my long range, I would love to have this experience someday list, and this is my to-do list. And my to-do list now, never, and this is really actually a secret, I haven't had a 10-item to-do list in a long time. I did this last year when my ex-husband and I were getting rid of our last asset together. I definitely had an over 10-item to-do list for that. But I actually broke that down into about 10 things, and then each of those 10 things had sub-things that had to get done to make sure that one, each item had sub-things that had to get done to make sure the item got done. That's project management. But now, and it's been about 3 years now, that one of my coaching students actually taught me about the One Thing. He's a One Thing consultant, and he taught me and got me to read the One Thing book by Keller, and I actually learned that now, and it feels so good. It's really funny. I have one main priority for every day, right? And you get to decide what your priority is. Sometimes, if I have to go to the cardiologist, that's my number one priority thing for the day, right? That's my thing. And does it mean I only do one thing a day? Absolutely not. What I found is by focusing on, hey, this is my number one priority for the day, and then when that's done, the next thing pops up and becomes the number one priority, I'm actually accomplishing way more than when I used to have a 10-item priority list for every day. I might get to the end of the day and I'd only knocked off 2 or 3, and I would feel bad at the end of the day. But by having one main focus, I succeed every single day, because I don't think a day has gone by that I haven't gotten my one thing done. So it just goes to show us that different strategies and different systems work differently on each and every one of us, and you have to figure out which ones work best for you. So that's been a really good one for me, and I have to thank Audie for that, because Audie Cashin's the one that taught me that, and I'd heard about it in the background of my mind, but I guess I didn't believe it, so I didn't even consider it till he told me about his experience with it, and then I was open to looking at it. A lot of times that happens too. We'll hear about something at a certain time when we're just not ready for it. We're not open to it. And then we'll hear the same thing later on and we're like, oh my God, that's perfect. And then we remember, oh, I heard about that 7 years ago and I didn't do anything with it. And instead of feeling guilty, embrace that. You recognize that now is the right time for you to proceed and to check into it. So today was day 179 of the Fun 365-Day Challenge. We're doing one fun thing every day in 2020 to make sure that this year is a positive experience for us and a fun experience. Not I don't want to remember it as, and I'm sure there's no way to not remember 2020 as the year of the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't know how any of us could ever erase that, but I don't want that to be the lasting memory of the year for me or for anyone else I come in contact with. So every day we do a one fun thing, a little one fun thing challenge for the day. And today was just to decorate something and then share what you decorate. And I mean, it can be a drawing. They said of a helmet. Turns out that the journal book that I'm using as a guide for this do one fun thing every day is for 6 to 9 year olds, which makes me laugh because I turned 60 right as the pandemic was hitting. And so I've learned that it's just as applicable for 60-year-olds to 90-year-olds as it is for 6 to 9-year-olds. So we talked about supersize your business, burning the candle at both ends. We talked about the day 179 of the Fun Everyday Challenge. And the other challenge I'm doing was day 34 of the Get Up and Go Challenge. And today was all about the O in SOAP. And SOAP is the framework or the foundation that I teach people to handle change, challenges, obstacles, failures, roadblocks, steps, anything that gets in our way. how do we deal with those? How do we handle those? Most people just react, right? And I've been guilty of that. Sometimes something happens and I just react to it. Very guilty of that with my ex-husband. You know, if he does or says something, boom, react, automatic reaction, because he knows all the triggers and all the buttons to push. Still does, which is kind of irritating that I still fall for him. I fall for less and less and less of them, but there's still so many. After 25 years, you can really figure out what and how to say things to irritate one another. So teaching the soap so that we can learn how to handle on a subconscious level. If you install things that work for you on a subconscious level, then it becomes automatic. You know, there's all this talk about you have to think positive, you have to think positive, you have to think positive. Guess what? We have like 80,000 thoughts a day. There is no way on a conscious level we can filter through and consider 80,000 thoughts. You know what? 74,000 negative thoughts are still going to probably get through even when we're trying to consciously filter out the negative. So we have to do other things, and I use the SOAP model to make sure that we're installing automatic ways of being to filter out some of that negative. So what's an example of how you do that? Number one, turn off negative outside influences. So if you have negative reactions to the news or to the media or to a certain friend or person that you hang around with, if they just automatically make, or it just automatically gives you that icky feeling anywhere in your body, but usually for me it's in my stomach or like tingling the back of my neck where I'm just like, ew, that person gives me the creepy crawlies, or that announcer or that news station or whatever. Excuse me, tickle in my throat. Then don't listen to that news station. Don't listen to the news at all. Don't read your Facebook feed, or guess what? Scroll by. And if you can't scroll by, just start putting people on a 30-day pause. You don't have to unfriend people that you've been friends with just because they put negative stuff out and you don't agree with them. Just mute them for 30 days and then see how you feel. If you feel better and you feel, and you know, then you can give them another try and see where they're at. We all go through these ebbs and flows of emotional and drama and trauma and stuff, where sometimes we're a little more negative than other times. Sometimes it's never about you, it's what's going on in their life. But sometimes we just have to either scroll by, and to be honest, if people are putting crap on my feed and it's showing up on my feed, I don't have to unfollow them. I did notice that I posted something and I got 52 people to unfollow me, and frankly I was super excited because on Facebook I have been at my friends limit for like 8 or 9 or 10 years, and I'm always looking for ways, and I hate deleting people, right? It just feels mean to me. It's like throwing away somebody's business card with their face on it. I don't like to do it. I know that that's a psychological thing, and that's why people put their face on business cards, by the way, in case you didn't know, because it's actually proven harder for people to throw away a business card with somebody's smiling face on it. Little trick in case you didn't know it. So we need to find things, though, that support us and ensure that we're doing things that will automatically move us toward what we want, which is what I consider success, right? Each and every one of us wants certain things, and what we want is unique and special for you. What you want is different than what I want. Guess what? We can all have it. We can all have what we want. There's this overriding current in society, in the world, that there's just not enough to go around, that there's scarcity and lack, and everywhere you look you have to carve out and compete for your piece of the pie, or you're not going to get your share. Talk about a load of crap. Talk about poppycock. Now I like the caramel poppycock popcorn, but poppycock also means bird doo-doo. It's just ridiculous to think and believe that, yet that is the overwhelming thought and belief in our world and in society. And it can be used to explain so much of what's evil and going wrong in our world. But we're not even getting into that tangent. Got into it with the kids yesterday, and about that, and about how you just have to think for yourself. And I've been saying this so often on so many of my videos and so many of my podcast episodes lately. I don't care what's going on in the world. All you have to do is focus on what is right for you and think for yourself. I gotta believe there are very few people, if they really did that and considered, would think that it's right for them to go out and riot. I'm not talking about protesting. Protesting for something you believe in, standing up for something you believe in a nonviolent way is awesome. And we all have things that we stand up for and that we believe in, and that's amazing. But I can't believe that deep down on the inside, even terrorists and people how do they convince themselves that, I watched the Boston bombing movie this last couple of days, and it's so disturbing. How do people brainwash themselves into ever believing that killing other people is okay, or that harming other people in any way, even competition harming other people? How do you convince yourself that that's right and okay? And how does that really make you feel? If it makes you feel good inside, time to make a little morality check. If it doesn't, then don't do it. You know, people struggle with decisions all the time. Should I do this? Should I do that? It's easy. Check in with your person, your big person inside of you, your morals, your values, your core values, and how does it make you feel? If it makes you feel good and positive and light and happy, it's probably okay for you. If it makes you feel bad, and look for more than just the instant gratification. Hey, how's it going to make me feel right this second to eat this donut? Yeah, it might make me feel good to eat this donut right now, but I know in 10 minutes I'm going to have that sugar dump, and I'm going to feel terrible, and I'm probably going to think that I'm going to gain weight about it, so I'm not going to eat the dumb donut, even though it's got caramel on top, and it really, really looks like right now I would love that donut. It applies to every area and every aspect of our life. So I guess that's enough lecturing for today. It's a holiday in America, 4th of July. I'm going to go out and celebrate with my family. I invite you to do the same. Have an absolutely amazing day. Think about some of this stuff and how it impacts you. Always think about and always think for yourself, especially and including the stuff I say. Don't take what I say ever on face value. Always filter it through. What does this mean to me? Ask yourself, what does this mean to me? Or, and do I agree? And does it even make sense? And I will tell you what, some of the things I say that irritate you the most, guess what? Don't be irritated. Ask yourself, why is what she's saying irritating me the most? I do that all the time now. Sometimes I'll be listening to something and I want to turn it off, and I say, stop. What about this message? What about this, what this person is saying? Why is that bringing up resistance, or why is that irritating? If you feel irritated, that's resistance, right? You're resisting against something that you're hearing, seeing, feeling, or experiencing. And I used to run away from that and hide from those things that made me feel bad. And now I ask myself, why is that making me feel bad? Because a lot of times it'll bring up something, it'll trigger a memory or an instance from a long, long time ago that obviously I'm still holding on to, but I'm way past that, right? It's from the past. I can totally let that go. So be more open-minded, be more kind with people, and know that they can spout off their stuff and you don't have to agree with it. It's okay to listen, but you don't have to agree. They're not going to brainwash you. If you're being consistent with your beliefs and your values and what's important to you, and you're really doing your own homework and your own research and thinking for yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else's opinion is. Everybody gets their own opinion. You get yours, I get mine, and everybody else, good, bad, or otherwise, they get to think what they want and feel what they want. They also get to deal with the consequences of what they think, how they feel, how they act, just like each and every one of us. Go out, have an absolutely amazing day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow, letting you know what I'm doing as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of America to the online world. Take care. If you have any questions, hit me up below.